Welcome to our first ever Epic Universe experience. We were so excited to get to experience this park, so we're going to take you on our journey throughout our day. We started our morning staying at Sapphire Falls and taking the shuttle over to Epic Universe. Staying on site gives you access to early entry to Epic Universe, which is 9 a.m. Not all of the rides open at 9 a.m., but you are able to get in line for quite a few of them. And then there's also a few that are open right at 9 a.m.
Now, as you can see here, there is a pretty large congregation of crowds right at 9 a.m. However, these parks are massive, and once you make your way in, it's really a non-issue. You start to dissipate, you start to work your way into other worlds, and you can really get a lot done with this early park entry, so don't let this large congregation scare you away.
Upon entering the parks, you will find yourself in Celestial Park, which is included as one of the portals of Epic Universe, but it's also the hub of the park. You will come upon a large fountain that butts up next to the Constellation Carousel, which is very pretty at night, and the fountain also has a little water fountain show at night. And Celestial Park is also home to Stardust Racers, which is Epic Universe's thrill coaster. Stardust Racers includes 2 tracks, a yellow and a green, and it's a dueling coaster, much like Dueling Dragons was back in Islands of Adventure, if you remember that. Stardust Racers is known for racing through the cosmos, so the queue and the ride itself are themed to a very futuristic style. The queue is pretty much all outdoors, so prepare yourself for that, but there is quite a bit of room to stand, so you don't feel like you're on top of each other. Stardust Racers is one of the rides that has lockers in the middle of the queue, so you can put all of your stuff up and not have to worry about it on the ride. It's also double-sided, so there's not a lot of crowds when you exit the ride. The seats themselves are lap bar only, much like Velocicoaster, and much like Velocicoaster, I felt secure the entire ride.
So we've been in the parks close to an hour now. The first thing we did was we went straight to Stardust Racers. We were one of the first ones in line, but unfortunately it was delayed. They just kept sending empty carts through, but after about 50 minutes, I didn't ride, but Jordan rode. And how was it?
It was great. I rode the green track. I'd say it's very comparable to Velocicoaster, so if you can handle Velocicoaster, this ride's for you. And the great thing is there's dueling carts. So once the carts get going and there's no delay, the ride moves very quickly because they're doing double capacity. So I'd say a 25-minute wait, definitely worth it. 45-minute wait was definitely worth it. It was really fun. And the biggest coaster in the park, so definitely worth it.
I can say as a guy sitting on the sidelines too, it's hot, it's warm, but that is a very aesthetically beautiful ride. The area that I was sitting at, they had all kinds of mist, and the carts were just flying by with all kinds of futuristic sounds and lights. It was a cool ride, so I definitely recommend checking that one out.
Something you're going to notice time and time again throughout this video is just how spectacular each and every one of these portals into the lands are. Now, what you see in here is the entrance to Darkmoor, or Dark Universe. This is going to be all of your Universal monsters, and it is absolutely spectacular. We did not expect much out of this park originally because we are not big Monsters fans ourselves. However, once we got here, this ended up being one of our favorite places to come visit. Now, I'm sure it's much cooler at night. We never really made the trip back. However, it's still stunning during the daytime. You can just see the massive scale, the detail they put into everything. We've really got to make another trip back here because I hear the food is spectacular as well. Now what you see before you hear is Dark Universe's 2 thrill rides. Off to the left you will see Curse of the Werewolf, which will send you spinning and weaving through the woods as you attempt to escape a pack of werewolves. And then off to the right you'll notice Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein Experiment. Now this is another thrill ride that is motion simulated, much like the Forbidden Journey over at Islands of Adventure. Inside Monsters Unchained, you will join Dr. Victoria Frankenstein and all of the monsters that she has brought back to life. It is an exciting and jaw-dropping ride, and the queue is a must even if you're not going to go ride this. And fair warning, the next couple of minutes are just queue footage, so if you're not interested in that, you can skip along to the next part.
Look that way. It's cool.
Yes, doctor. The doctor will see you now. This is fun, yes? That wasn't us.
Silence, creature. I will destroy you and everything.
These two just don't get along. The Dracula experiment is the last piece of the puzzle. And with your help, the world will never see the name Frankenstein the same again. Open the doors!
All right, 10:30 and we've already rode 2 rides. We just got done riding Monsters Unchained and really liked the ride. I'm not a big fan of monsters, but the ride vehicle was very cool. It's very reminiscent of the Forbidden Journey over at Islands of Adventure, which is my favorite ride over there. The ride's fun, the animatronics are very cool, and like the special effects, all on point. If you're not a fan of Frankenstein, Dracula, you're not gonna get much out of the ride other than you're gonna get spun around and see some cool stuff.
I agree.
About where you're at with it?
It was cool. I wouldn't do it like multiple times a trip or maybe once every few years just to watch it again, but that's just because we're not into monsters too.
But so far, overall, loving Epic Universe. This place is great.
Dark Universe is home to 2 main food locations. One we showed briefly earlier was Das Steakhouse, which is more of a sit-down style restaurant. What you see here is the Burning Blade Tavern, which is home to, as you can see, a bar that has many specialty drinks, and including souvenir cups. We tasted the kind of hallmark one that you've been seeing a lot, which is called the Monocane, and it is actually a mocktail, and it is only available at the Burning Blade Tavern.
All right, pro tip for if you're coming over to the Burning Windmill, you can actually follow this little pathway over here to the right. And if you're wanting food, this is where you'll need to go to do your mobile order pickup. If you go into the Burning Windmill or the Burning Blade Tavern, all you're going to be able to order inside are drinks.
We will now take a quick look at one of the most anticipated portals of Epic Universe, Super Nintendo World. While Super Nintendo World is also featured in many Universal parks around the world, this one sets itself apart because of Donkey Kong Land. Not only is this portal super immersive and makes you feel like you're right in the middle of a video game, it also has power-up bands that you can purchase to play even more mini-games. The mini-games will keep you entertained throughout the day. There's hundreds of different spots that you can earn points, and then it all leads up to Bowser's Mini Challenge, where you get to face off with Bowser. Not only are the mini-games interactive, but also the rides. One of the feature rides of this land is Mario Kart, which in and of itself is pretty interactive as it is augmented reality. Not only is Mario Kart interactive by itself, but it is also paired with the power-up bands that you've purchased for the mini-games. It unlocks special content within the ride.
Have to hit it hard.
Super Nintendo World is one of the most fascinating portals that you will enter. It is so well themed and you just really feel like you're in the middle of a video game. Although this does come with an increase in crowds, everyone is drawn to this land, and the way it's laid out, it is not as walker friendly and the paths are not as big to get around. So you will see that the crowds are very condensed in this area. Other rides throughout this portal include Yoshi's Adventure, which is a small, slow ride that is very kid-friendly that takes you around the portal and lets you see the sights. Moving on to food and snacks within this portal, the feature restaurant is Toadstool Cafe, which is mobile order, but it also allows you to sit down and eat your food in the air conditioning. Wide variety of food on the menu, and it is all themed very well. Although the dish we had, the grilled chicken sandwich, was not the best theme park food that we've ever had, the theming was well worth it to go get a seat. One other fun part of Super Nintendo World are all the meet and greets that take place. Meet and greets include Mario and Luigi, Peach, Toad, and Donkey Kong. A lot of these are scheduled in the app, but some of them are surprises, and meet and greet times can change pretty frequently, so it's always best to ask a team member if you are really trying to meet a certain character for the day. Other food and drink in the park include Yoshi's Snack Shack, where you can get a couple of different themed smoothies and shells that are filled with pizza ingredients, so a red shell and a green shell. The other feature snack shack in this land is in Donkey Kong Land, and it has the viral Donkey Kong float that comes in the souvenir mug. The other ride in this land is Donkey Kong Minecart Madness, which is a coaster ride. Express Pass is not able to be used for Donkey Kong, so this is one that a lot of people race to first. Minecart Madness regularly has one of the longest wait times in the park. And now we are entering Isle of Berk, where yes, they have dragons. This portal is based on How to Train Your Dragon franchise, which now includes 3 animated movies and a live-action film that just debuted. This land, if you've seen the movies and appreciate the movies, you will greatly appreciate this land and all the detail it has to offer. But even if you haven't seen the movies, this land is still truly magical. When you first walk in, you're taken aback by the large statues and the large centerpiece in the background, along with rides and entertainment flowing about. This land is home of 3 different attractions, a show called The Untrainable Dragon, and then 3 different food options, along with some of the best merchandise you'll find in the park, in my opinion. As you can see as we're walking along here, this park is full of so much detail. One great thing about this park, along with the meet and greets that are offered, is the vast amount of animatronics that you can see just walking around. You have sheep and dragons and all kinds of different moving parts that catch the eye and provide entertainment as you're walking around. One great thing about this portal, especially for smaller children, is the Viking Training Camp playground. You'll see here to your left, it's a large playground with many different slides and rope bridges, just comparable to the Shrek playground or Camp Jurassic at the other parks. Now let's talk about some of the attractions in this portal. First up, we have Hiccup's Wing Gliders, which you can see here is a small family coaster with a height requirement of 40 inches. A lot of people compare it to a miniature version of Hagrid's Motorbike Adventures in Islands of Adventure. Next, we have Dragon Racers Rally, which is a large spinning ride that has a minimum height requirement of 48 inches, and fun fact, is not available for Express Pass. It is one of the 3 rides that you cannot express in this park. The other attraction in this portal is called Fire Drill, which is a water-based ride with large ships that you fire water guns at each other. You can see here. The minimum height requirement for this is 36 inches. Another big feature of this portal is the Untrainable Dragon live action show. This is a feature of live action Hiccup, Toothless, and Astrid helping to solve the mystery of the untrainable dragon in a riveting live show. There are many show times throughout the day, so be sure to check out uobuddy.com or the Universal app to see all of the show times for your day. Isle of Berk also has 3 different food options you can enjoy while you're here. The first one is Mead Hall, which is more of your sit-down style restaurant, although it's still considered quick service, but has quite a bit of a larger menu than other places, and also has some specialty drinks you can try out that are specific for Isle of Berk. The next one here that you can see to your left is the Spitfire Grill, which is also a quick service grab-and-go restaurant and has some outdoor seating over to the right that overlooks Fire Drill. Here at Spitfire Grill and the other quick service stand in the park, Hooligan's Grog and Gruel, is where you can pick up your mac and cheese cones that you see all over the internet right now.
We are sitting here right around 12:30, and it has gotten busy. There's not anything that's not under 60 minutes just about, other than maybe the carousel outside. So I think things are really going to pick up for the rest of the day.
One last bit of info about Isle of Berk is that it houses one of the most coveted meet and greets in the entire Epic universe, meeting Toothless and friends. Here you can meet a large animatronic Toothless with his friend Hiccup, and sometimes Astrid and even Stormfly come out. The great thing about Isle of Berk as well is that the Vikings and dragons also roam about throughout the park, so sometimes you can catch them without even waiting in line.
We saved our favorite world for last. Here before you is the Ministry of Magic portal. As far as the initial wow factor of walking through the portal is concerned, the Ministry of Magic isn't necessarily the best. I think that title would have to go to either the Isle of Berk or Nintendo World. However, as far as the actual scale is concerned, well, I don't think any of the other worlds hold a candle to the pure magnitude of this world. The camera isn't going to do the Ministry of Magic justice, but when you walk into this world, you are instantly immersed. It really feels like you are walking down the streets of Paris. Now, for fellow Wizarding World lovers, I don't necessarily feel the same nostalgic connection to this world as I do to Hogsmeade and Diagon Alley at Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios, but that isn't to say that this world doesn't feel magical. We spent hours just roaming this world, taking in all of the different scenery, shops, food, and experiences, and I don't feel like we even scratched the surface. As far as entertainment in the way of shows and attractions go for the Ministry of Magic, there aren't a ton of options on paper. For shows, you have Le Cirque Arcanus, a riveting play about a ringmaster who has stolen Newt Scamander's suitcase of Fantastic Beast. Throughout this play, we witnessed some very cool special effects that gave off the illusion of magic, and they really went all out with true-to-scale puppets. We really enjoyed this show. Secondly, you have the popular ride, Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry. Be warned, unless you just happen to catch this ride at the right time of day, you are probably going to have a pretty long wait. We went through the single rider line, and it took us just a little over an hour to get on the ride. Granted, the listed wait time was about 150 minutes, so we actually made really great timing. This was a great ride mixed with a healthy dose of virtual screens and animatronics. Now, the ride is listed as a thrill ride, but it was really pretty chill, so I think anybody could give this ride a go. I do think the coolest thing about this ride is the queue, though. Even if you decide not to ride, I think you have got to walk this queue. It is the most immersive and massive queue I have ever been in. Unfortunately, the footage we took was unusable due to how dark the main sections of the queue are, but luckily, to make up for it, we captured nearly every other inch of this world, so you're welcome.
The young man in green, yes? You know, the little boy. It's what you don't see a stranger.
Number 60 is ready. I'll get my information. Oh, it's like the lounge one. Yeah.
Epic Universe also includes what I would call two nicer sit-down restaurants that I would consider for dinner time. One is Atlantic, which is in the Celestial Park area, and it is seafood based, and it's right on the water, so it looks like it has a great view. But we chose to eat at the Blue Dragon, which is the Pan-Asian style restaurant. It's a really cool vibe inside, and the menu is pretty big, so there's quite a few options, and there's also a bar. So if you don't have a reservation, you can always sit at the bar to order drinks and food if there's availability. We were pretty full by the end of the day, so we only tried one entree, and it was very tasty, and we definitely saw a lot more things on the menu that we would like to try. So overall, I would recommend doing a reservation for this restaurant because it was pretty busy and it seems to be pretty popular right now. Epic Universe is a one-of-a-kind park, one that we've never really seen before, in the way that it is set up in portals. Overall, you've heard good and bad reviews on Epic, but our personal experience, we very much enjoyed it. There's so much detail and so much to look at. It can keep you busy for many trips to go. We will definitely be back and ready to explore and ride more rides and try all the new foods. We will also be excited to see all the expansions that come along in the next few years. Thanks for watching our video. We hope that you'll check out other content on our page and follow along on our travel journeys.